problem every Grow a Garden player has is aging their pets. Even though it might seem simple, it can be very difficult. And I already made a video about this last week, but a lot of things changed since then, so it's time for an updated version. I also got a secret tip on how to unlock pet slots the fastest way possible towards the end of the video, so make sure to keep watching because you don't wanna miss out. So let's get right into it. Alright, and we are in. So guys, there we are again. Aging up your pets. It's not that easy, but today I'm going to make it easy. That's what we are going to do, because after some testing I found some ways again to level up your pets very easy. So let's get right into it. So the first thing you need for this method is one of the following pets: a normal owl, a night owl, a blood owl, or a cooked owl. You were able to get the normal owl, night owl and blood owl from the moon event, which is not in game anymore, it was a temporary event. So if you got any of those, that's great, but if you don't, you probably have any of the new cooked owls, so those work perfectly fine as well. So let's go over all of the owls real quick. Alright, let's start over at the normal owl. Here it is. So the normal owl has the following ability: all active pets will gain an additional 0.23 XP, meaning they will level up faster. And keep in mind, the numbers can be a little bit different on your pets, because when leveling up the numbers go up. It depends on what level your pet is on. About 0.23% for the normal owl. Then if we go to the night owl, you will see that it's also at 0.23 XP. So that's basically the same as the normal owl, so those two don't really have a difference. Then we're getting into the blood owl, and as you can see, it's 0.59, which is way more than any of the other two owls. So this one is very overpowered, and if you have any, make sure to use the blood owl. They were the hardest pet to get in the moon event, because you were only able to obtain them from the blood moon shop, and then it was also very expensive and rare to spawn in there, so if you got any, those are the best to use. But if you don't have any of the moon event owls, there's also the cooked owl over here. And this one is very good as well. This one has a 0.2 XP, so it's a little bit worse than the normal owl and the night owl, but still very good. But this owl has another ability, because it can also give some fruit in your garden, some other mutations like cooked or burnt. So that's pretty cool as well, but that doesn't help for leveling. So if you have any of the owls, I would recommend using the blood owl, and after that the night owl or the normal owl. And if you don't have any of those, use the cooked owls. And the more the better. Alright, so now, how can you unlock those pet slots the fastest way? Because it can be a pain, especially if you're not spending Robux, because they are very expensive to buy with Robux. But you can do it obviously with the free ways. But there is one pet that can make this so much easier. I should say two pets. Because that's the brown mouse and the grey mouse. I already went over this in my last video, but that's the way, guys. That's seriously the best way. I won't go over them for that long, but what they basically do is level up way faster than any of the other pets in the game, because of their ability. The brown mouse is a little bit better than the grey mouse, so if you can, use the brown mouse, but those two level up way faster than any other pet, so in combination with the owls, they level up even faster. But then one problem remains, and I can't believe I'm saying it again, but a lot of people forget one single thing: to feed their pets. Yes, I can't believe I actually have to say it again, but you definitely have to feed your pets, because once their hunger bar runs out, they won't age anymore until you feed them again. But there's one pet who can replace that task for you, so you don't forget: the moth. Because the moth pet has a secret ability. Okay, so what it basically does is the following: every 12 minutes it sings to a random pet and restores its hunger to 100%. It basically feeds your pets for you, when you're in the game at least. So use that pet if you keep forgetting to feed your pets. So how do you get these pets? Well, it's pretty easy. So you were able to get the normal owl, the night owl and the blood owl from the moon event, which left a while ago. So the only way to get those is by trading. Trading can be a little bit tricky in this game, because there are so many scammers out there, so be careful. But when you do find someone to trade an owl with, it shouldn't cost you that much, because they're quite new. And then the cooked owl. The cooked owl is even newer and got added in the last update. You had to be in game right before the update, and then you got awarded with the cooked owl. So there are very many of those out there, so if you didn't get any, just trade for them. They're very easy to get, but once again, don't get scammed. Then we get into the mouse pets, the brown mouse and the grey mouse. You're able to get those both from the mythical egg, which costs 8 million shekels and has an 8% chance to spawn in the pet shop. And from this egg you have a 35.71% chance to get the grey mouse and 26.79% chance to get the brown mouse, so they're not that hard to get. And last but not least, we got the mod. You're able to get the mod from the anti-bee egg, which you can craft over at the bear bee over here, but it is temporary, so get it now you can. And if you're watching this video after the bee update already left, you can still trade for it. But that's it guys, that's the best way to level up your pets in Grow a Garden. And if you don't have any of the owl pets, I'll be giving away a cooked owl by the end of the week, so make sure you subscribe, leave a like and leave a comment with your username down below to not miss out, because I want to help you guys to level up your pets a little bit faster. But once again, thank you so much for watching, have a nice day and Tiki